Hey, what's up, Crossroads family? Pastor Jorge, Crossroads Espanol, coming at you once again with your daily devotional. I don't know about you guys, but I have been super blessed by all of the messages that the team has been sharing. So shout out to all of the pastors who have been sharing throughout the past couple of weeks. Today's scripture is found in the book of Psalms, chapter 31, verse 15. And it says as follows: "My times are in your hands. Deliver me from the hands of my enemies, from those who pursue me." As I was reading through this, I was reminded of a book that I had read years ago, and I decided to look this book up. And then I began to find commentaries. I began to find different pastors throughout the years have mentioned this book. And most recently, about 2 or 3 years ago, Pastor J.D. Greer actually wrote an article, and he mentioned this story that was extracted from the book Shadow of the Almighty. And I just want to read that to you because it had blessed my life, and I know that it's going to bless your life as well. And he calls it one of his favorite books as well, and it's called The Shadow of the Almighty. And it's the journals of Jim Elliot, one of the 5 missionaries who was slain on the beaches of Ecuador during the 1950s. So his wife, Elizabeth, years later decided to publish his writings. And she found the title in Psalm 91, Shadow of the Almighty. And Pastor JD says the following. He says, "The title is ironic when you think about the fact that Jim was literally pierced through the heart with a spear and killed, something Psalm 91 promises will not happen. But Elizabeth called her book Shadow of the Almighty because she was utterly convinced that the refuge of the people of God is not a refuge from suffering and death, but a refuge through it, and a refuge from final and ultimate defeat." And she quotes her husband as writing the following: "I am immortal until my work on earth is done." And the same goes for you and I, church. We are immortal until our work on earth is done. There may be some painful chapters, Pastor JD writes, but if you hold on, you will see that God was working it all together for good, just like he said. Right now, we're going through one of those painful chapters. Right now, we're facing a great enemy in COVID-19 and the coronavirus, this novel virus. But I just want to remind someone today that our days are in God's hands. Our days are not in the hands of a virus. Our days are not in the hands of our enemies. Our days, the scripture says, are in God's hands. 2 Samuel says that when his days were fulfilled, I believe that once we fulfill God's calling upon our lives, he will call us up. We will not go sooner. I declare right now, and I believe over your life, over my family, that we are immortal until we have fulfilled God's call and God's purpose in our life. And all of these other things that are happening around us, they are just going to be used to work together for the good of us. I believe that everything that is happening, it's going to make us better. It's going to make us stronger. Even the bad things that are happening, God just has a way of walking on water. God has a way of turning bad things into good things, or into things that work together for our good, as the scripture mentions. So I love you guys. I just want you to walk around today believing that we are immortal until we have fulfilled God's plan over our lives. Let me read to you one more scripture that comes to mind, and it's found in the book of Job. Job chapter 14 verse 5 says, "Since his days are determined and the number of his months is with you, and since you have set limits that he cannot exceed." God is the one who sets, God is the one who determines the days, the weeks, the minutes, down to the seconds that we will leave. And no one can exceed, no one can violate, no one can trespass what the Lord has set in place. Believe that we are immortal until we have fulfilled our call and our purpose here on earth. And our days are in the hands of the Lord. Love you guys. Until next time.